A billionaire's confession to his maid. A shocking truth. Daniel Ashford, a 58-year-old billionaire, sat alone in his penthouse on the 47th floor. Everything he owned was worth millions, everything he felt was worth nothing. For 14 years, Rosa, his maid, had cleaned his life while living hers quietly in the background. She hummed the same Spanish song every day. Chilito lindo. One morning, he asked her to sing it. Rosa hesitated, then sang. Her voice was pure, untrained, and absolutely beautiful. When she finished, Daniel had tears in his eyes. He'd never really looked at her before. Never asked her name beyond the employment contract. That night, he hired a private investigator. What he discovered shattered him. Rosa had raised 3 children alone after her husband died. She'd worked as a maid for 40 years in other people's homes to put all 3 through college. Her oldest was a nurse. Her middle child, a teacher. Her youngest, an entrepreneur. On Sundays, she visited her mother with dementia in an assisted living facility, spending 6 hours reading to a woman who no longer recognized her. She'd turned down marriage proposals. She'd never asked for a raise, she'd never complained. And she made $65,000 a year. Daniel made $3.2 billion. The next morning, he sat down across from Rosa in his kitchen. I had you investigated, he said. And I discovered something that changed everything. Rosa's face went pale. You're the strongest person I've ever met, Daniel continued, his voice breaking. You gave your entire life to your family. You sing the same song after 50 years. You visit your mother even though she doesn't remember you. You've mastered something I spent billions trying to find. What? Rosa whispered. A life that matters. Daniel paused, then said the words that would change everything. I quit my job today. I'm liquidating 80% of my wealth. I'm creating a foundation in your name, the Martinez Foundation, to help first-generation students and aging caregivers. But more than that, he reached across the table and took her hand, something he'd never done in 14 years. I want to learn how to live, and I want you to teach me. Rosa's eyes filled with tears. Mr. Ashford, call me Daniel. Daniel, she said softly. My mother used to say, the richest people are those who have someone who wants to know them. Not for what they own, but for who they are. She squeezed his hand. Who are you, Daniel, when no one's watching? When there's nothing left to achieve? For the first time in his life, Daniel had to stop and think about a question that actually mattered. 6 months later, the news broke across every financial and human interest outlet. Daniel Ashford, billionaire founder, was stepping down. He'd liquidated billions and created the Martinez Foundation. But nobody reported the real story. Nobody reported how he learned Spanish to talk to Rosa's mother. How he attended his business partner's daughter's parent-teacher conference, something he'd missed for everyone he'd ever cared about. How he finally understood that you can't buy your way into a meaningful life. You have to earn it, one conversation at a time. Sometimes the person with the least in the world teaches the most about living. Sometimes you don't realize you're poor until you see what real wealth looks like. And sometimes it takes a billionaire finally sitting down and listening to his maid to learn the only thing that was ever worth knowing, that the richest life is the one you actually live.